Hi, it's Tanya and Amelia from Coffee Catchup's podcast, and you are listening to Coffee Catchup's Espresso on Cross Rhythms, Plymouth. Amelia, we're in the studio again.
We are
exciting.
Indeed. Yes.
And tell everyone what we're talking about today. It's quite interesting.
It is quite interesting. I'm very excited for this one. So we're talking about love languages.
Love languages. Now, you may have heard of them, you may not have, but I think a great place to start is... what are love languages? Are they just something you've made up? Do I need to learn another language? What's going on?
Yes, this is all my own invention. No, I totally joke. It's not. Love languages are essentially the recognised forms of how we give love. So how you express your love to other people.
Yeah, and how you like to receive love as well.
Yeah, and how you like to receive it. So essentially kind of how do you interact with people. This is sort of recognised by various scientists.
And there's a quiz. Yeah, actually, we really should kind of look up who came up with it. But there's a quiz online which you can do, which is quite interesting, and you can check and find out what your love languages are. Now, this isn't just some weird like Instagram quiz. It's actually quite thorough, and it takes you through loads of different scenarios, and it says what do you prefer? Someone give you love like this or this, and lends you through a load of scenarios, and then it tells you kind of the we all use every love language, but it'll tell you you most like to receive love in this way, and so on and so on. So, Amelia, what are the love languages?
So the five love languages that are recognised. You've got acts of service, quality time, physical touch, gifts, and words of affirmation.
Lovely.
So what are words of affirmation? Should we start with that one?
Oh, words of affirmation, one of my favourites. So words of affirmation, basically what it says on the tin, but it is loving somebody by saying things to them that are encouraging, that are loving, that affirm who they are. So with a partner, it might be things like, I love you, or you're incredible, I'm really proud of you, I really appreciate you, things like that. So yeah, just encouraging people with your words.
Yeah, absolutely. It's sort of like, even if they know those things already, sometimes it's really important just to hear it again.
Yeah.
I think we have that all the time. It's like, actually, like, you know, I'm going through a really hard time at the moment. And then, you know, if I go to Tanya like, oh, I feel really rubbish, you know, she'll come to me and say some very lovely things very often, which is very nice.
And words are powerful.
And words are really powerful. And sometimes you just need to hear it again. Or particularly if you're in a sort of dilemma, really, and you're like, I feel like I'm right, but I don't know how to kind of go ahead. And it's like just nice to hear that other person say, no, I really think 100%. You are right in this. Or whatever it is. That could be really great.
Great. So that is words of affirmation. There is also physical touch.
Yeah.
Which is,
again, what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
Giving people a hug. Put your hand on their arm or their shoulder.
Yeah, if it's a romantic partner. Bit of kissing. Bit of smoochy smooch.
Smoochy smooch. But also just like, you know, linking arms with your friends as you're walking along or whatever it is. Putting your hand around their shoulder if they're having a hard time or whatever it is. Nice. I'm quite a physical, touchy kind of person. Just, you know, love a good hug.
Yeah, me too.
Love a good
hug.
I'm
an actor. I'm always going to be physically touched kind of person.
Absolutely. What is the next one?
Gifts. So gifts is gift giving, gift receiving, thinking, like seeing something. It doesn't have to be a big gift. It can be, but it can also be seeing something and it makes you think of someone, and so you give them that gift. That's one. Another one?
Quality time, I think.
Big one.
Yeah, quality time is a huge one, actually. And I think you did a bit of research, didn't you?
Quality time is the most common love language amongst, they've done studies of people, and that's the one that's at the top of people's list most often on average.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just making the time for people, isn't it, really? Going to know what I'm, you know, haven't got anything physical to give you, but I can give you my time. Okay, like if you need a chat, great, let's sit down and talk about it. Or let's just hang out and just, you know, chill together.
It's about, I think the key word in it is quality time. So it's not just sitting in the same room with somebody as you both do your things that you've got to do that day. It is about that time, intentional time where you go, actually, I'm going to choose to spend time with you. Yeah. And that's why I think it's so important, because actually time is one of our best currencies.
Yeah, absolutely. So true.
The other one is acts of service. Yes. You know what, my dad does this one. He totally loves to serve. And that's how he shows love. So for him, that's like making a cup of tea. Yeah. Or like helping you repair a bike or something like that. So it's doing something for somebody. It could be doing the washing up, or they're overwhelmed, and so you're like, let me take some of the load off. So acts of service is the fifth one. Is that all of them?
Yes, it is. It is indeed.
Okay. Well, great. So we are going to talk more about why we think they're cool, and a little bit about how they've really helped kind of me, you, and why maybe you should look into it. Who knows? But we are going to listen to some music first. It's a radio station after all. Welcome back. It is Tanya and Amelia from Coffee Catchup Espresso, and we're talking about love languages. The 5 love languages, which are acts of service, quality time, words of affirmation, gift giving, and physical touch.
Indeed. Yes. Well
good
done.
Test for the memory
Got
there.
through them.
Amelia, I've got a question because
Hello.
I want to know, have you done the love languages quiz?
Yes, I have indeed. Yeah.
Great. Good start. Otherwise, my next question would just completely flop. What's your top love language, or maybe your top couple of love languages?
Yes, I think my top 2 are quality time and words of affirmation, for sure. Quality time, again, I think I said in a previous episode, or somewhere else in the ether of episodes of Coffee Catchup Espresso, I love spending time with people and just getting to know them and what makes them tick. And so, it's just actually, again, time is actually our biggest commodity, right? Like, we spend so much time on so many different things, but actually choosing to spend your time with somebody, I think is really huge. And that goes to be whether I'm giving or receiving. If someone chooses to put time aside to spend with me, I really, really appreciate that. And it speaks, it kind of speaks to that relationship, I think. And words of affirmation I think are really important because it costs nothing. Again, I think I mentioned on a previous episode, I was bullied massively in primary school. And so actually now when people they choose to speak kindly, I think that means an awful lot. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be a very slightly dull podcast because mine are really similar. But before I tell you about mine, has finding out about your love languages and kind of using the quiz been helpful when it comes to relating to other people and sort of speaking with other people?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really good. Like kind of like you said at the beginning, you get to know yourself a lot more, and you get to know other people a lot more when you learn what their love languages are, and you can actually kind of recognize and go, okay, well if I do this, actually if I choose to show my love to that person by speaking words of affirmation, if that's one of their top ones, like actually that's gonna have much more of an effect than just giving them a hug. Whereas actually if they are a physical touch person and the words of affirmation is a bit lower on their list, it doesn't mean they don't appreciate it, but actually what they need in that moment might actually just be a hug. And words might not necessarily help. And so I think it really helps to build relationships when you find out what each other's love languages are.
Yeah, I agree.
What are yours?
So mine are interesting because I've done the quiz at various different points in my life, and it's often thrown up different things. The one that's always at the top, like the average, is quality time, to the point where I actually genuinely think quality time is its own category, like in the sense of I do think most people should have quality time up
for
there.
sure.
So quality time, I think, because spending time with people is just invaluable, making memories. And I think, sometimes it's recently something's happened in my life and I've really been reminded of how mortal we all are.
Sure.
And it's just makes me appreciate time with the people I love even more. As like, for me, social time with people I love is never wasted time. I never think I've had an unproductive day if I've spent a whole day with a friend. That's not unproductive. That is a great day, well spent. And then another one. So the 2 words of affirmation, just to copy your answer, is very high up there for me. But another one that's up there is physical touch. And like I say, I'm an actor, so I love to sort of connect physically with people. But interestingly, physical touch was highest. This might be a little dark actually, but was after quite a difficult breakup. Because you can actually do the test. They set it up for friendships and they set it up for romantically as well, and your answers can be different depending on the relationship. But when after like we'd been together for a long time, and at the end of a relationship, like in many relationships, things sort of slowly sort of peter out.
Sure.
And that was very much the case. And one of the really obvious things was that like he was not as forthcoming with like even holding my hand or giving me like a hug or a kiss, or like just being close in proximity in public, or whatever. And so after that one went, because I was so kind of deprived of it, that one went up a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're necessarily set in stone. I think they move around a bit. And, I could definitely see a time if I've had a lot of harsh words thrown at me, that words of affirmation is even bigger. When I've had a lot of rejection from work, I'm like, oh, yeah, I need more words of affirmation. So I think it ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
The one thing that is at my bottom and has been at the bottom for a long time is gifts.
Yeah, do you know what? Me too. Me too. I it's not that I don't ever give gifts, but I think I'm rarely sort of, I'm in the supermarket or in the shop or wherever, see something and go, oh, that would be a really good gift for that person, and then I just get it. It's just not something that I naturally do, and as much as I think that's obviously a really lovely thing to do, it's just not something that is at the forefront of my mind.
Yeah, I think I'm better at like giving gifts than I am at receiving gifts. I don't care if someone gives me a gift. I mean, that's an exaggeration. I do care. I am, but not in the same way as I care if somebody's really spent the day with me. It's not as much as I value as much. Anyway, we're going to talk about this more, but we're going to take a little break, listen to some music, and we'll be back talking more about love languages. Hello, welcome back. This is Tanya and Amelia from Coffee Catchup Espresso. We're talking about love languages. We're talking about the 5 love languages. If you just tuning in, the 5 love languages are, you've got words of affirmation, so encouraging words, physical touch, giving and receiving gifts, acts of service, so doing things for other people, and quality time, spending time with the people that you love.
Yes.
And we just quickly, as a recap, we have been talking about why we think they're important. You get to spend, understand yourself better and understand other people and how they might like to receive love. So therefore, how you can best communicate your love for them, with them. So it's a really good way of trying to understand people. And I actually had a really interesting conversation with my parents when we were out to dinner. I think must have been a few years ago now, but they'd not heard of the love languages. And because I thought it was really interesting, I was like, oh, guys, you'd love it. And then made them do the quiz. And interestingly, like my mum, she loves receiving and giving gifts.
Okay.
And I don't know many people who gifts is their top one, but it is for her.
Yeah.
And she loves it, even small things like. And my dad's is acts of service. He will show he loves you by doing something for you. And so he, all the while, what was interesting, like their whole relationship, he's been, doing stuff for her, fixing the car, making, I don't know, a chair or something, loves woodwork. And she's going, oh, great. That's lovely, thank you. And appreciating it, not saying she doesn't, but all the while, like, she'll get him a little gift and he doesn't really care. And then he'll do something for her and she'll be like, okay, great, thank you. And wanting him to give a gift. And so there's this kind of like mismatch, but they're still showing each other that they love each other.
Yeah, sure.
And so in having this conversation, they were like, oh, and they could understand a little bit better of how they relate, and it was just really helpful, and they talk about it now, which is quite nice.
Yeah, that is really nice, actually.
It's really
I love
nice.
that. It's really good to have a conversation about it, because again, I think, like we've said, you get to know someone so much better, and actually it builds the relationship, doesn't it? And it kind of helps you to understand the other person on a new level. But yeah, I think my sister's really similar, actually. Her gifts is really, really high.
I know, I find it strange.
And the amount of times that I've kind of just like, I've gone down to see her, or she's come up here, or like I remember once she just went to the Barbican with a friend or two, and came back and she'd bought these really cute earrings. And then I was like, oh, they're really nice. And she was like, oh, I'm really glad you think that. And then she just handed me a pair, and I was like, thanks, that's really nice. But yeah, it's never been super, super high on mine. But I think acts of service is a really interesting one, because I think of all of them, it might be one that goes most like it goes kind of unnoticed quite a lot. Because particularly like I mean I can't speak to marriage because I'm not married, but like, you know, in a marriage when your responsibilities of like keeping the house clean and all of that are kind of similar in a way.
Yeah.
I know some people kind of define who does what, but it can kind of go a bit unnoticed.
I know what you mean. I think in the everyday acts of service, I agree. Yeah, I think you see a lot of frustration in that. So maybe that's a good reason to just be aware of it and be actually I'm really, really grateful for you doing what you do every day, like washing up
totally.
or whatever it is, or making a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's the British love language right there.
Oh yeah,
tea,
absolutely.
Separate.
Absolutely. Tea.
category.
And if there's a biscuit with it, forget it. It's going to be
Don't get
amazing.
started on biscuits.
Even better. Even better.
I agree. Now, would you say for you that you receive love and give love in the same love languages, or are there ones that favour the other?
Oh, I think it is a little bit different. Yeah.
Okay.
Again, I think quality time is definitely up there because again, I love, you know, I will make time for people and I love to get to know people. And I think if you can see someone doing the same thing, I really, really value that. Whereas like weirdly kind of receiving words of affirmation, isn't as high on my list as giving words of affirmation.
You are very good at that. I vouch for her.
Thanks, mate. That's so affirming. I love it.
Oh, did we just demonstrate?
That's crazy. Imagine putting it into practice. So, but yeah, it's not quite as high. So I think acts of service probably goes a bit higher. Gifts maybe goes a little bit higher. Just because, you know, I don't think to get somebody a gift. But actually I know, again, like that example with my sister and the earrings, like the fact that she saw those and thought Amelia would like these, I'm going to buy them for her and give them to her. And also I think obviously because that involves money as well, it's like they're using their hard-earned money to buy you something, which is really lovely. Or, you know, you can also express that in making something for somebody, like even if it's like picking a flower from the side of the street or whatever, like, you know, it really speaks to actually I'm thinking of you, which is really nice.
To love.
And yeah, physical touch is kind of like, you know, in between for me. I don't really know where it is. It kind of sits quite firmly in the middle, I think.
Okay, interesting.
But yeah, because I think it's sort of I'm quite a like tactile person. But it also depends very much who I'm with, and if I know that they're not quite as tactile, I maybe won't do that as much. And I think that is it as well. It depends on who you're with.
Oh yeah, it depends on the relationship
Massively. So
yeah, no, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I think for me, words of affirmation is the same. Like it's high up for both. It's high up for receiving and giving. Maybe I just need my ego constantly boosted by words of affirmation. I don't know. No, I think I often give love to people in a way that I would like to receive it. But knowing about these has really helped to like just transform my understanding of how different people behave and how they react. And actually, ultimately, isn't it great when anyone does anything that's an act of love?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, like, actually, writing somebody a little card with words of encouragement or sending them a message after they've done something really cool. And I've tried to become a counter to a lot of the negative comments online of being like, people, even when I'm like jealous of people when they've accomplished something that I'm like, oh, I really like that, I'm a little bit jealous of you, or actually stopping myself and going, no, I'm going to comment and be like, well done, you should be super proud of yourself. And half of them like I barely know, and so they're like, who is this random person like commenting? But just things like that. And actually I think before we take a little break, I would love to challenge our listeners to step out a little bit more in the love language that perhaps you don't always use.
Yes,
for
that's
someone.
a really good shout. I love that.
And also, when next time somebody shows you that they love you, especially if it's one of the ones that you were talking about, Amelia, that's sort of underappreciated, goes unnoticed. Notice and like say thank you in whatever way you think is appropriate for that.
Yeah.
So that's my challenge as we try and love one another. And you know what? In this world at the moment, mate, we need a lot of love.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Don't we?
Absolutely.
We need a lot of love.
Absolutely. Where is the love? That is the question.
I feel like that's been said before.
No. OG Amelia.
Okay, we'll be back in a bit. Hey, it's Tanya and Amelia from Coffee Catchup Espresso, and we have been talking about love languages. We are going to park that now because now it's time for our silly section, our snack chat section. Woohoo! Now, although we have been talking about love languages, I'm going to keep that theme going a little bit.
Okay.
Because I have a rather silly question for you. What would you write on a love heart? The sweet love heart.
That's a great question. I love that.
Because by the way, solid sweet.
True.
Big fan of most of the Swizzle. Swizzle's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Other brands are available.
Yeah, but love hearts are patent too.
Well, yeah. But other brands of sweets are available.
Of course.
But love hearts, yeah.
So
specific.
What would you write?
Do you know what? As someone who's not in a relationship and never has been, I just think you're awesome. Is so great.
I thought you were going to say, I love me.
I love you.
At least I have self-esteem.
So true. That too.
I'm great.
No, so good. I love it. But yeah, no, I think just like, yeah, you're awesome. Because it's like you can give to a mate, you can give to a date. Like, you know, that. But also, do you know what? Bringing in a little bit of the Bible.
Oh, nice.
You are fearfully and wonderfully made.
Oh, what an answer.
Good. Because it's true. It's true of every single one of us. You are fearfully and wonderfully made.
You've taken my silly game and absolutely smashed out the park.
Got silly game. Jesus.
Boom.
Boom.
Collide.
Boom. Jesus loves a bit of fun though as well.
Yeah.
What would you write on a love heart?
Well, I was going to say for Frodo. I don't know why. Just I love Lord of the Rings. You know the bit where Aragorn's running and he goes, for Frodo!
Yeah.
And I cry.
Or that day may come, but it is not
this
day.
And then I don't know, it just popped into my head. I was like, oh, for Frodo. And if I got a love heart like that, I don't think I could ever eat it. I think I would have
I'd have to frame it.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
Amazing.
But I do like your much more spiritual answer.
Maybe we should collaborate with Swizzles and bring out a line of Coffee Catchup Espresso times love hearts. For Frodo, for Narnia and for Aslan.
Oh, Aslan.
So good.
Could we do little orcs?
Yeah. Potatoes.
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. Oh no. We've gone full Lord of the Rings. But, oh no, they've already got a Lord of the Rings one in...
Have they?
Yeah, they do, because they say,
oh,
my precious.
Oh, true.
They do.
True.
That was anticlimactic.
I was about to do a Gollum impression, but I'm going to keep that to myself
please
for the airwaves. Okay. You're welcome. But my other question to you is, if you're cooking for someone that you love,
okay,
whether that's romantic or not, what are you cooking for them?
Okay, this might be a cheat answer, but their favourite meal.
Yeah, cute.
Oh, I'm not normally cute, so I'll take that. I'll take that. I'm wrong with it.
No, so good. So good.
Okay, should I ask you that, or have I just nailed the perfect answer?
Well, you have nailed the perfect answer. But if you're interested in my answer, because
I am, I'm always interested in your answer.
Thank you. That's so nice.
That sounded so
sorry.
sarcastic.
We've gotten a bit delirious now. Yes, their favourite meal, absolutely. But also I tend to I think cooking should be a love language, you know. I love it. I think
I'll let them know.
I think it's great.
There's actually 6 love languages.
Please do, yeah. I love cooking Latin American food and I love exploring new recipes and stuff. So I think if I can find a recipe that I know that is going to fit their tastes, absolutely do that. There's just so many like really comforting, fun things, and it's like giving them something maybe like new to try, but also that I know they'll kind of love because of their flavour preferences. I quite enjoy that. Yeah.
I'm hungry again.
Yeah, me too. Every snack chat we just end up just being really hungry.
We need snack.
We do.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us for Coffee Catchup Espresso. We've been Tanya and Amelia, and this is Cross Rhythms Plymouth. Have a lovely rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.